Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Luna, a creative soul passionate about fashion, art, sewing, history, and everything beautiful that surrounds me. I have a BA in Design and Technology, and I would like to take you in my journey of sewing our own clothes and sharing my knowledge with you. Today, I would like to show you how to make this beautiful top. Her name is Umbriel, named after one of the Uranus moons, and it is the first in the many moons to come through my patterns. I have created, constructed and designed this pattern myself. It is a very versatile pattern with 4 options available, 2 different dresses and 2 different tops, and you can get creative and do a lot more. The size range is from 32 to 52 EU and from 0 to 20 US. The pattern comes with written instructions as well and other helpful materials. More information you will find in the description below alongside with the pattern available for purchase. Now let's make the Umbriel top together. After you have downloaded the digital pattern, open the PDF file using Adobe Acrobat Reader. It is free to download. You need to have this program in order to be able to select only your size for printing. Once you have opened the PDF, click on the tab Layers. In here, you will find all the sizes selected. Each size comes with 2 layers, one for the actual size and one for the seam allowance, which is 1 cm. I recommend you to print the size with the seam allowance. Uncheck all the sizes except for the one that you wish to print and the text layer. Do not uncheck the text layer because this layer contains the information and guidelines for assembling the pattern. After you select your layers, click Print. In this menu, select your printer. After that, in the Page Sizing and Handling section, select Custom Size 100%. It is important to select it in order for the pattern to be printed correctly. Now you are good to go. Click Print and your pattern is on your way. Here are the printed pages with the Umbriel pattern. On the pattern you will find a chart with the correspondent lines for each size, a test square to check if the pattern is printed on full size, and also cutting instructions for each pattern piece. I have here the front part as an example in order to show you how to assemble the pattern. As you can see, the pages are numbered and each intersection of pages has a half circle with a number and a letter on it. They are to be matched into a full circle in order to help you to assemble the pattern easily. Start by cutting or folding the pages at the bottom and at one side. After you cut the pages, start to match them with the guidance of the circles and then tape them. Finally, cut each pattern piece carefully, and after that your pattern is ready to be used. For the top, you are going to have a total of 3 pattern pieces. The front part placed on the fold of the fabric. The back part, you are going to have 2 pieces from the fabric. And the sleeve, also 2 pieces from the fabric. You have all the information regarding the placement and cutting instructions for each pattern piece written on them, and you can also find a detailed guide on the PDF file with the written instructions for the Umbriel pattern. I have here all the necessary things you will need for making this top. The main fabric, which is a thin viscose for this one, but you are welcome to use another type of fabric because this pattern can be made out of both thin and and thick fabrics. Just make sure that you will interface if it is necessary, like I will do for this one. Next, the lining, elastic, interfacing, tools, and of course the pattern, which you will find linked in the description below. After you interface your fabric if it is necessary, start to place the pattern on the fabric folded in half and pin it. The front part needs to be placed on the fold, and please do not forget to place the straight grain for the sleeves and the back part parallel to the edge of the fabric. Let's move on to the darts. Here is how I do them. Take the back bodice piece with the wrong side of the fabric placed up. On it, place the pattern and pin it. Start to cut off the dart legs only from the paper pattern. One side and then the other side. After you cut the dart legs, fold the paper up and away from the fabric, forming a gap. On that gap, start to draw with a tailor pen or a piece of chalk the dart legs and upper edge on the fabric. You can also draw the middle of the dart if you consider it helpful. Do the same for all the darts on both the back piece and the front piece for both the main fabric and the lining. After you drew all the darts, you can start to stitch them, or you can use this trick to help you stitch them easier, and that is to press them first. Fold the dart in half and press for a few seconds just to help the fabric stay in place. Here is how I'm stitching the darts. Start stitching by using a medium stitch length, and when you are approximately 2 cm away from the top of the dart, change the stitch length to the smallest your machine has. Stitch until the end, but do not backstitch. After you finish stitching all the darts, press them towards the center. Do this for the front piece and the back pieces. Press them carefully, firstly on the wrong side of the fabric and then on the right side of the fabric. Repeat these steps for the lining as well. Time to assemble the bodice. Before you start to assemble the bodice, you can overlock or zigzag stitch the bottom, sides and shoulders of the front and back pieces. Place the front piece with right side up. On it, place the back pieces with right side down, right sides facing each other. Pin them together in place from the armhole down, leaving 1 cm from the bottom edge. It is important to not stitch all the way down, leave that 1 cm. After you pin the sides, pin the shoulders as well. Stitch the shoulders and the side seams with 1 cm of seam allowance. When stitching the side seams, stop 1 cm before reaching the bottom. Repeat the same steps for the lining. After your seams are ready, press them really well on both the wrong side and the good side of the fabric, for both the main fabric and the lining. Time to attach the lining to the main fabric. Open the top and place it with right side up. On it, place the lining open with right side down. Start to match and pin the lining to the main fabric from one part to another. Start to match and pin from the center, working your way to each side until the edge of the back part. When you are reaching the edge of the back part, you need to leave 1 cm from the lining unattached to the main fabric, because we are going to use it later for the back seam. Do this for both back parts. Stitch them together with 1 cm of seam allowance. Start to stitch 1 cm from the edge. After you attach the lining, it is time to press the seam. But before pressing the seam, make small cuts into the seam allowance along the curvier parts. In this way, you will help the fabric loosen and lay better. Press on both the wrong side and the good side of the fabric. The next step is to make the understitch. This will help the lining to lay better, stay inside, and not roll outside. Get the lining out, place it open, parallel with the main fabric. Turn the seam allowance under the lining. Start to stitch on the good side of the lining 2 mm from the edge, making sure to place the seam allowance under the lining while stitching. Take your time and do it slowly. After you finish, press the top again. Now it's time to insert the ribbon and make the back seam. For this top I used 2 ribbons, but as you've seen in the beginning of the video for the other tops and also on the pattern instructions, I recommend you to use 3 ribbons because it will make the top fit better. Turn the top inside out. Between the lining and the main fabric, place the ribbons as shown. One at the top, another one in the middle, and the last one on the lower part of the top, leaving 2 cm away from the bottom edge. Do not place it all the way down, it is important to leave at least 2 cm. Repeat the same steps for the other side, taking care to place the ribbons in the same position. Stitch the back seam with 1 cm of seam allowance, but be careful to not stitch it all the way down. Leave again 1 cm from the bottom edge. Cut the corners and the excess of ribbon and press the seam really well. Turn the top, make sure to make the corners as sharp as possible and press it again. It's time to make the bottom seam. For this seam, we are going to fold inside 1 cm from the main fabric and 1 cm from the lining as well. This is why you didn't stitch all the way down the side seams and the back seams, leaving 1 cm out. We are going to use it now. Place the top open and begin from one side. Start to fold 1 cm of the main fabric inside. First, do this only with the main fabric, and after that we are going to do the same with the lining. Once you folded the fabric inside, pin it in place and work your way to the other end by folding and pinning. You can do an extra step here to help you keep the fabric from moving, and that is to press gently over the fold. Take your time, you can do it. Once you have finished with the main fabric, you can start to do the same with the lining. Fold 1 cm inside and pin it in place all the way down. Press it with an iron if you want to. After you fold it and secure the bottom edge, it's time to stitch it. Stitch it with 0.5 cm from the edge. Next, press the seam really well. Moving on to the sleeves. I chose to make here a long sleeve like it is on the digital pattern, but you can easily adjust it on the length that you desire. First, fold the hem of the sleeve, which will form a channel through where the elastic will be inserted. You can pin it or press it. I chose to fold the hem at the width marked on the digital pattern, but depending on the width of the elastic that you are going to use, add 1 cm extra to the hem so the elastic will easily go through. Next, stitch the hem with 0.5 seam allowance. Using a safety pin, insert the elastic through the channel prior made. Secure the elastic with pins at both ends. Once the elastic is inserted and secured, stitch the seam of the sleeve with 1 cm of seam allowance. Make the gathering stitch between the marks on the pattern using the longest stitch length on your sewing machine. Backstitch at the beginning but not at the end, leaving the thread longer so you can pull the thread to adjust to the armhole. Next, press the seam of the sleeve really well. Now the last step is to attach the sleeve to the top. Turn the top inside out and insert the sleeve through the armhole with right sides facing each other. First, match the side seam of the top with the seam of the sleeve, and after that start to match and pin the rest of the sleeve to the armhole, adjusting the gathering in order for the sleeve to match the armhole. After you secure it, stitch them together and repeat the steps for the other sleeve. Next, gently press the sleeve but avoid the gathered part. You can overlock or zigzag stitch the seam. And here it is, your finished Umbriel top. Thank you very much for watching until now. And if you consider purchasing my pattern, I would like you to know that I appreciate it and I thank you very much for supporting my small business. It means the world to me. Have a magical day. Until next time. With love, Luna.